Good evening. What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night, 9:17 p.m. Eastern, just outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Maybe it's just outside of the Overlook Drive-In as well, if it were a real place. Joining me on this episode, not as always, we got a substitute for the first few minutes here because our guy Mike has unfortunately, quite literally, broken down on the side of the highway and had to change a tire. So thoughts are with Mike at this time. But joining me, at least for the beginning here, the Overlook Drive-In, he is the man behind Bros Before Pros Gaming. It's Mr. Gianni. What's going on, man? You're muted. You're doing the me.
Pulling a U, and for the record, the name tag should have given it away. The correct intro was "Here's Johnny." It's right there. Overlook Drive-In.
Can't see it under there.
and the obviousness didn't come to you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, here's Johnny.
I mean, I didn't even have the show up in a decent amount of time, so I'm not expecting the normal turnout numbers that we typically get for the Overlook Drive-In, but we're gonna go through the show. It's not gonna be a long one tonight. It's gonna be an abbreviated one, and so strap yourselves in. I guess when Mike's not here, it's my opportunity to squeeze in just a little bit of Star Wars talk when Mike's not here, and that Star Wars talk is apparently, man, one of the main directors behind Stranger Things is going to be directing a Star Wars film, according to at first it was in negotiations, and now it seems to be updated to as happening. And if you follow Star Wars at all, that probably means dick all. They hire people left and right, and none of these things ever seem to get fucking made. But Stranger Things and Star Wars, it's a unique thing, I think. Any thoughts on that?
I guess it depends on which one it is. I mean,
it's John Levy.
Okay, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
I think he's doing Deadpool and Logan as well.
Yeah, he's doing Deadpool 3, yeah.
Dude's busy. Dude's making making bank.
He's done some good stuff. It's going to be interesting, though, because the stuff he's done has always been a bit more campy-esque. I mean, Stranger Things is sort of different. I mean, that's television stuff. I mean, his film catalog, is very much more in the camp. I mean, he did the Night at the Museum trilogy. You know, he's a bit more campy in his film. I mean, Free Guy was one of his movies, so he's Ryan Reynolds' best friend all of a sudden, apparently. I mean, he's done 3 consecutive Ryan Reynolds movies.
Maybe Ryan Reynolds will finally get a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, because he has time for that.
Oh, I mean, I can't imagine it would be anytime soon by any means.
I mean, because he's still going to have time for that?
I mean, who knows at this point in time?
Jesse's
in the house. By the way, how's everybody doing tonight? I know that the show link didn't go out anywhere near close to early enough. A lot of people probably thought we weren't going on tonight. So most of you guys will probably see this after the fact. Apologies. Things are crazy right now. I would expect things to remain crazy for the next little while and up until after Christmas, but we're going to do our best to stay on top of things, and Mike will be joining us momentarily. But while we have Johnny here, dude, there's some pretty big-ish news today about a franchise that you and I had we're pretty big diehards about for a very long time, and the news came out today that Netflix has purchased the rights to do a Gears of War flick, and apparently they're going to do a live-action Gears of War movie, and they're hoping, if all goes well, that will lead into a adult animated series. My first thoughts, dude, when I seen this was to look at my phone and ask what year it is. And hey, I don't, and yes, I have a cold, people, so apologies. My voice is not as beautiful as it might be on a normal occasion. The thing that gets me with this, man, that's kind of frustrating, is when we all wanted this, Nothing came of it. And now here we are in 2022 on the 16th anniversary of the original game. That's crazy to think about, dude. That makes me feel not so good inside. On the 16th anniversary of the original game, we get an announcement about a movie. Now, if we ever see this movie or not remains to be seen. I gotta say though, man, I'm like, I'm not at all confident in this. Not one bit. I'm trying to be optimistic, and I just can't see Netflix giving these guys the budget that they need to do something, in the style of those games. And then there's like, is there even a demand for it anymore? Look at the Halo series. I haven't seen it, but from what I understand, the visuals are great. But even most Halo fans are just kind of like, whatever. Because like these things should have came out a decade ago, 12 years ago even. Have they missed their chance? In my opinion, they probably have, but I'm certainly hopeful they can do something worthy of grabbing our attention.
I mean, like you said, it's been a long time. It was about 15 years ago they announced the first movie in production. Right? It was New Line that bought it back in 2007, something like that. So I mean, we've been around.
Kicks at the can.
Yeah, this is a story that's been, every time there's been a Gears release, the question is asked, is there a movie in development? Or is there film in production? The answer is always, there's something in development. There's something in development. And here we are now, in 2022. And I don't know. I mean, I think I'm less worried about this now than I was in 2007. As crazy as that sounds, because in 2007, video game movies were taboo. If you did that, you were making a U-Bowl movie. Because if you know video game movies, you know U-Bowl, because he made like 90% of them, and they all sucked. But now, here we are in 2022, and the Halo series finally came out and was successful. Netflix created the Witcher series, and that has been phenomenally successful. So I think I'm far less worried about this now than I was then, because Netflix isn't afraid to throw their money at stuff, even stuff that's not important. I mean, they spent a buttload of money on that Batista zombie movie that came out last year, the year before.
Zack Snyder was behind that too.
Well, yes, but I mean, it was still, like they're throwing money at projects because they have to. This is the arms race now. It's the streaming arms race, and Netflix is slipping. Everybody else is right. Once the uncontested giants, they are now contested from every front, because every studio has finally realized, why aren't we doing this ourselves? We can make 100% of the profit instead of whatever Netflix was paying in licensing fees. And now here they are, making all of that profit. And Netflix is sort of left holding the bag, realizing, well, we need to start making our own stuff and making it more successful. And they've done that. Netflix has a pretty high, in my opinion, I think Netflix has probably the best success rate for originals of any of the major streamers. So I'm confident that Netflix is going to put the right people to do this and put it together and do it right. And I'm not nearly as concerned about this as I was, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I'm okay with this. I'm happy about it. It's going to come down to casting and story. Are we going to tell an E-Day story, or are we going to tell the game? And that's going to be what it comes down to. And where it gets interesting is where the story goes.
I think the thing you have the chance to be most successful with is E-Day. I do think that's the one that you can craft your own story, apocalyptic story. Those things sell. We've never also really seen Marcus's involvement in E-Day. So I would be...
Is he in jail on E-Day?
I don't know if he was in jail on E-Day or not. I think he might have been in jail after E-Day.
I mean, obviously you busted him out at the beginning of the first game. I can't remember how long he'd been there.
But one name that's going around, before we go any further, I want to bring in my normal co-host here, and we'll wrap up Gears Talk in just a few minutes, and we'll outro Johnny. But joining us, he's fresh. He's back. Hopefully he's okay. It's Mike. What's going on, man?
Oh,
You're
what's
muted.
up, dude?
We've all already muted ourselves 13 minutes into the show. And yeah,
What's up, man? Excited to be here. Ready to jump into it. Appreciate Johnny jumping on in my absence, dude. I saw y'all talking some Netflix. I didn't get to read everything that was going on with. What are y'all talking about? Topic wise
Gears of
again.
War. Netflix is going to be doing Gears of War, which.
Well, I can tell you if Netflix throws the money out there that they throw into some of the other stuff that flopped, we'll see what happens. But I don't know if money will be a total issue. I think for it to work, they don't have a choice.
You think that Netflix would be willing to, write $150 million check for a season or a movie of Gears of War?
Who's in it?
Well, we don't.
Who's in it?
Nobody's attached to it at the moment. But Gears of War is a very sci-fi meets horror type thing. That if it looks cheesy, you're done. It's over.
I think that's the only way that it works. I mean, you have to invest that money in it, or it's just going to come off as cheesy and cheap and whatever. And I'm a big Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson guy. I like him as an actor, but him and Ryan Reynolds were obviously in a movie for Netflix called Red Notice, and Gal Gadot was in it as well. So obviously, you got big time name actors and actresses in that movie that they spent a lot of money on that I didn't think was all that good. Granted, you have 3 headlining actors right there, so that plays a big factor too. So I guess it all depends on one who they can cast, if they're gonna spend a lot of money on casting and stuff like that. But they definitely need to, if they want it to work and be successful, they're going to have to throw the money at it. They don't have a choice. So we'll see.
I think that the leading candidate for Marcus in this film, one, yet Cliffy B come out, Cliff Bleszinski, who created Gears of War, has come out and lobbied hard for Batista to be Marcus Phoenix. The other thing going on with this is he's actually worked with the franchise before on multiple occasions. So there's connective tissue there. I don't think he alone can lead a Gears of War movie. But everything I've seen him in, he's been far better on screen than I ever would have given him any shot of being. So to me, you're big. You can cast whoever you want as Dom probably and get away with it. But if you're if that's the story you're telling, like, you got to cast someone as Baird. Like, hell, give me Ryan Reynolds and Dave Bautista in Gears of War. Tell me Ryan Reynolds doesn't work for Baird, Johnny.
I can't. I mean, now it's one of those things that I'm thinking about. I'm like, Baird, who's gonna be Baird? And then you say the name's like, oh, yeah, no, that works, because I mean, Baird is just Deadpool without a mask, really. I mean,
Coltrane, you'd have endless options for.
Oh God, yeah.
So I want to get hyped for this movie, but this is kind of like my, it's kind of like my, I'm nervous because like I wanted to get hyped for Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, and while I liked what they tried to do there, it was very clear COVID restrictions destroyed that movie. And then I wanted to get hyped for the Resident Evil Netflix series, which was a fucking abyss that never should have been fucking made. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that. And it's like, I'm sorry. I think Netflix puts out a lot of shit. And yet they put out Fear Street, right? So like, and I loved Fear Street. So
I think that's the thing with Netflix, man. They're gonna try any and everything, and you're gonna have stuff that sticks. Like, I think they do really, really good with originals, though. Like Stranger Things, Fear Street, for example. They do pretty good as far as originals. I don't know though. I feel like I have to really sit down and think about it, but like when they've brought in like really, really, really big top A-star actors and actresses, it usually doesn't work for them for whatever reason, compared to like when you start off with new characters and things like that. So I don't know. I'd be super excited. I think Batista would be really good for that role. We'll see. We'll see.
Heath asks, have you seen the trailer to Knock at the Cabin with Batista? Seems
Yes, and it looks so good. It looks really good.
I have not. I'm gonna have to check that out for sure. Any final thoughts, Johnny, on Gears here before we bid you au revoir?
I mean, so it's all gonna come. Like I said, it's all gonna come down to casting and story and whether or not they put the budget behind it. I mean, Netflix, like we said, Netflix isn't afraid to throw the budget if they can get the star. I mean, obviously Red Notice, Gray Man, I think they both got upwards of 200 million, something like that. Like they were.
Yeah, and it just they threw the
budget films.
They did, and it's just, in my opinion, they didn't hit. Unfortunately, so they definitely didn't make their money back in that. In my opinion, but they do. But I mean, Johnny, they do have the money they have the money to throw. Like, there's no doubt about it.
They spent over 100 million on that Will Smith movie a few years ago, right? Like, I mean, that movie was just cheeks.
I just question what the interest is. Like, you need to sell this movie to a crowd that is not hyped about the game and isn't just nostalgia over the game. Because I'm telling you, in terms of the people for the game, you've missed your window. Even fucking Halo missed its window, and it gets reviewed decently. And I know a ton of Halo fans, and you look at the Halo online community, and a lot of them just don't care because it's been way the fuck too long. Hey, I think Peter Jackson was going to do Halo at one point.
Yep.
Which is just crazy to think about. So, anywho, Johnny, what do you got going on, man?
Oh, that, and the other thing. I'll be recording some stuff for Bros Before Pros here in a few minutes, so keep your eye out for that.
Dude, are you going to, are you seeing Black Panther?
I haven't decided yet.
I'm trying to find somebody who's going to go see it so I can discuss it with somebody. Not like on a show or anything, but like...
No, I understand what you mean, yeah. Yeah. I'd say that it's the odds
Tommy,
are good.
There you go, Tommy. You can talk to Tommy. Tommy's definitely going to see that movie. He's gung-ho about that movie.
Like opening weekend, though? Tommy's usually somebody who kind of waits.
I could totally see Tommy seeing it opening weekend. He was going on about it at length. That and Ant-Man or something, and there's a new Ant-Man coming out.
Quantumania.
So, yeah. So all that. You can check Johnny out, though, again, over on Twitch Bros Before Pros Gaming. What are you playing lately, dude?
Madden, mostly.
That sounds, I'll say interesting for your sake. We should Gears of War one night, even campaign mode on your Bros Before Pro. I don't know how the hell that would work anyway, but I'm dying to replay that series. Anyways, that's going to do it. That's Johnny. Thanks for coming out, man. Really appreciate it.
Being here.
Thanks, dude.
All righty. Well, we have Mike back in the fold. And, dude, you came back just in time for us to talk about your all-time favorite Halloween movie.
I can't wait. Man, like, I'm not going to lie to you, Sean. I woke up this morning at 4 a.m. and my alarm clock didn't go off till 6 because I was like, damn it, I'm starting the day off early because I get to talk about Halloween Resurrection for at least 45 minutes to an hour tonight. I'm excited about it, and I hope everybody in the chat is, because it's interesting.
Wait, so we're committing to talk about this thing for 45 minutes to an hour? Man, I'm going to... Hang on, I might need to take one of these before we get into that. Bloody hell. Halloween Resurrection, dude. So Halloween Resurrection. Let's dive into the film a little bit here. Inside the Flick, written by Larry Brand and Sean Hood, directed by Rick Rosenthal. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Produced by Paul Freeman, distributed by Miramax, cinematography David Geddes. Starring Busta Rhymes, Jamie Lee Curtis, Katie Sackhoff, Tyra Banks, and others. The production budget was $15 million. Box office results were $37.6 million. That's almost identical to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, by the way. Opened July 12th, 2002. Dimension, Nightfall, and Trancas all involved. The runtime for this flick is 90 minutes. Some facts about the film. Bianca, who played Sarah, could not scream, Mike.
Who the fuck screamed for her during that scene then?
They added it in with someone else in post. How the fuck do you get that role and not be able to scream? Please explain that.
She's not my scream queen, so I don't know, dude. I don't know. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions at this movie. That there's one of these that I didn't know, so definitely keep going through these.
I don't like. How do you get cast as a lead in a horror movie and not know how to scream?
Oh my god, that's funny.
What kind of favors are you doing to get that role? Like, I know that's me.
Sean,
Me going down a slippery slope, but dude, just being honest. We're casting. We're sending out a casting call for The Shape, and here comes my Aunt Sandra, who's all 4'8", 260 pounds. I don't think she's getting cast as The Shape. She just doesn't meet the requirements. They weren't filming Hush, so how does she get that role?
Hey, listen, you got valid questions here. I just don't think that we're gonna find those answers tonight, but they are valid questions. They're valid questions. Well, more one question, but
Entertainment Wizard says Katie Sackhoff did Bianca's screams. Interesting. Katie Sackhoff plays another character in this movie. She's also the actress behind Bo-Katan in the Star Wars Disney Plus universe. So definitely dig her. The psychiatric hospital was Jamie Lee Curtis's idea. Mike, you're very pro Jamie Lee Curtis, so let's head on over to you and see what you have to say about the psychiatric hospital at the beginning.
I mean, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it, I guess. I have a problem with just the way that she went out. Like, oh man, that I don't know, dude. It's just, I'll say it's a bad decision. Yeah, but everything in this movie is a bad decision. But I mean, if the plan was to kill her off in the first 15 minutes anyways, I guess I don't like that, obviously, but if that's the way that it was going to be, I probably would have rather had her living off somewhere in her own house and Michael gets her on Halloween night at her own house. Like, that would be something cool instead of something the corniness that we got. As far as, I mean, everything about that was just stupid. Like, it was dumb. Like, it was dumb. Like, I can't. Like, she kisses him and says, "I'll see you in hell." Like, that's just so corny to me. She dies by getting stabbed and falling from a roof. I don't know, man. That's just one, a boring way to go out. Two, you just don't kill off a legacy character like that and then continue the entire movie like that. That's just
one of the problems with what went down there is quite simply, a lot of people like to say that she was originally supposed to be in the movie for a lot longer and they pulled a bunch of shit and then she wanted out, and that's not how it went down at all. She knew she was doing Halloween Resurrection when she signed on to do Halloween H2O. And the reason for that was the agreement about killing Michael in H2O. They wanted a way to bring Michael back. So I think preferably they would have had her for most of Halloween Resurrection. And I think she made very clear that she was not going to be a part of it, wanted to be in and out. I think she was there for 1 or 2 days. I think it was 1 day of filming. Might have been 2 at the most. And she came up with the idea, off the character, out she goes. So there's a lot of people that say, well, they didn't know about Resurrection when they were making H2O. Yes, they maybe not as how it ends up being structured, but they absolutely knew there was another one coming so that the whole Michael dying didn't stick.
another fun stat about, I think I brought it up before, that psychiatric hospital that they use in Resurrection is the same place that they use for when in Happy Gilmore, when Happy takes his grandmother to the nursing home. Same place. Thought that was pretty cool.
Gotta watch
Positive
it.
movie.
You gotta
A
watch
better
it.
movie.
Fucking air conditioners. He says, I mean, you stuff pills forever in a teddy, then he busts through a door and you get to a roof and has another moment of hesitation. Yeah, it's
There's a couple of things that I do like in this movie.
oh.
Yeah.
Are they in any of our 5 categories tonight?
Probably. I'll stick them at one of them. That'll make sense. But
Right.
I'm just thinking about it. Like I'm just thinking about my scores that I sent, and they were terrible. I mean, it's no secret though.
Rick Rosenthal has a cameo. He's a professor in this early on in the film.
Is that him?
As the professor?
Yeah, when they're in the room, as far as when Sarah, that's Rick Rosenthal down there. Okay,
yeah,
that's the one that I was interested in that you had down on here that I actually did not know.
So, I think she's actually in class. She's being taught.
Class.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if you meant the Dangertainment meetup or not.
Oh, no. So when she's in class and he asks a question and she answers.
Yeah. So I want to play What If here for a second, man. Could you imagine?
I got a problem on his punk ass, by the way. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, Rick Rosenthal? Well, we're about to talk about him further.
Okay.
Could you imagine if Halloween H2O had come out 4 years ago and Halloween Resurrection came out this year? And before going in to see Resurrection on social media, it blew up that the guy that did Halloween 2 was doing Halloween Resurrection. The Halloween fan base on social media would blow up. It would be crazy. People would be celebrating. People would be jumping off roofs in celebration and flipping cars and doing all sorts of crazy things about the director of H2 being back. Now, could you imagine the social media fallout of getting Resurrection?
Ooh. I guess that's my problem with Rick Rosenthal. It's like, I know people like change over the years, and it had been a very, very long time. But goddamn, are these two totally different directed movies? Like, I love 2. It's number 2 on my list as far as my favorite Halloween movies, and this is damn near the bottom, if not the bottom. I can't remember. I always get Resurrection and Rob Zombie's H2 mixed up as far as what I have last. I guess you can just mix both of them up, and I won't be upset about it. But like when
we have your scores to revert to on the last 2 weeks, so
yeah, I mean that's true. I don't know, man. I don't know. It was just very disappointing to know that they involved both of the directors. Now, again, there's some stuff, a couple of things that I do like, and I don't know if that falls under the directing part or the cinematography. I guess we'll jump into that when it comes. But as far as, Rick Rosenthal, man, I was just obviously way disappointed in him. Obviously, he didn't write the movie, but still disappointed in what we got.
People think it was bad. People think the social media reception for Halloween Ends was bad. Like, I'm telling you, if those events play out today, it would be way worse, in my opinion. But that's a story for another day. Let's dive into the film, and in order to do that, we break the film down into 5 different categories: story and pacing, acting, cinematography, writing and directing, and sound and score. So get your scorecards ready, because first up on Mike's favorite Halloween movie, Halloween Resurrection, is story
Stop saying that.
and pacing. Alrighty, story and pacing. This feels like 2 different movies.
Can I ask you something?
What's that?
When the hell did you have time to do that? Do
Today,
you sleep?
very briefly. No, hardly at all.
Jeez, I
Hardly
love
at all.
that. That's my first time seeing that video, y'all. So that's why I'm shocked. It looks great, dude.
There's 4 more of them coming. So,
Yes, yes. Hopefully, one of them involves Busta.
Mike's got more energy in him than I do tonight. That's for damn sure. Anyway,
And I should be in a really bad mood right now, but I'm not. I don't know why. It's really weird.
yeah, I mean, one, we're talking about Halloween Resurrection, and obviously your journey home wasn't as planned, and yeah, plenty of reasons.
When stuff goes bad like that, I always try to remind myself it could always be worse. Doesn't
Then
always make
actually
it
gets
easier.
worse. And don't worry,
Yeah.
we gotta talk about Silent Hill next week. So, oh, that's gonna be a mixed bag. Mike might be sick that week.
Why would I be sick? I haven't seen it.
I don't
I'm
know how
excited
I
to watch
feel
it.
about it anymore. I was positive going into it, and now I'm
Oh yeah, you watched it this weekend, right? You and Jay?
I'm a mixed bag at the moment when it comes to that. There's a lot of things I like, and some things it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah, no, I get
Sean,
that.
off to sativa. I can't do it, man. Indica into couch. Yeah, the pacing of this movie is fucking terrible. I actually like what they attempt with the story in this movie outside of the Laurie Strode nonsense. I like the attempt at found footage. I like that it's a streaming broadcast. It's just ahead of its time and not executed very good. So, like in this movie, there's a pretty, decent standalone Halloween movie to be made. They just don't execute it. So, A for effort, but at the end of the day, this film lacks a lot when it comes to story. We learn almost nothing about any of the characters. Surface level shit at most. And Michael Myers is having Katie and rats down in his basement.
All right, I guess I'll go on story and pace, and I think it's disgustingly bad. If I'm being nice about it, I think if I could pull anything positive away, which doesn't lead to it being positive, it goes back to what Sean said, and that's just the story in general, or what they were trying to go for. But like when I think about story, that includes the stuff with Jamie Lee Curtis. That includes obviously the ending, both things that I just don't like. No matter whose idea it was, it's just stuff that I didn't like, and I got to include that in the story. And then when you think about this found footage, like I agree, it was ahead of its time, and then again, it just did not hit. It did not stand on its own 2 feet. And you can have a great idea all day, all you want to, but if you don't execute it, it's just not going to hit. And the execution comes from the directing, the cinematography, everything that we're going to talk about that we break these movies down is stuff out that they didn't execute on. So it shows, and I think that they could have had a good Halloween movie with the found footage, but they just didn't execute it right. I think you explained it perfectly, Sean. I hear a lot of people say exactly what we're saying is it's different and it's intriguing as far as the found footage and the cameras going in to investigate the boogeyman's house. Like that's intriguing in a sense. It's different from the same old stuff that we have gotten in the past. But again, when you don't have the acting and the directing to execute those things, it's just not, no matter how good the story may be or the potential for the story to be, it's just not gonna stick.
I really enjoy the Myers house in this film.
Me
It's sort of
too.
the first dive into the Myers house, the proper Myers house we get in a very long time. But at the end of the day, as much as I can pick out, this was a good idea and that was a good idea, and some of the kills are cool, and I like the found footage / streaming concept. At the end of the day, we're not scoring these things off of cool concepts and where they hope to get. We're scoring these things off of where they actually got. And I just realized I don't have my score up, so I need to see it.
It's
We're
good.
scoring
I can.
things off of like overall results, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you have story and pacing at out of 10, man?
I'm looking at my scores I sent you today.
Yep.
I had it at a 3. And I think that's, if I'm being quite honest with you, Sean, that's me being kind of nice.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing about this movie draws me in. I think that if I would have saw this movie in theaters, I probably would have walked out when Laurie Strode was killed. And I don't walk out of movies. It's just not my thing. I paid money to go see it. I'm going to sit there whether I like it or not. But I think it's one of those rare occasions where I probably would have walked out of the movies. And look, if you love Resurrection, I'm super happy for you. We say on this channel all the time that I'm never going to shit on somebody's, take as far as, if you love something, I'm super happy for you. I want you to be able to enjoy what you enjoy. There's stuff that I enjoy that people think are weird or that sucks. So if you love this movie, that's fucking awesome. Like, I love that for you. But for me, Sean, the story and the pacing's at a 3. God, look at Michael. Why does he look like that?
I have no idea, man.
Like, there's only one person on that cast that I could say maybe 2.
I like
that I
Katie
like.
Sackhoff now, but that's
Which one is her character?
She was the blonde.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not saying I like her in that movie. I'm just saying I like her as an actress today. So.
Oh no, I definitely get that. Me too. I've always been. I think his name's Sean Patrick Thomas or Sean Thomas Patrick. One of those. I get it mixed up. I've always liked him.
Yeah.
I've liked him in other movies. Not the biggest fan of him in this movie, but I will say he's not one of the characters. Oh my god! Please stop. He's not one of the characters that like I when I watch this movie I cringe. There's a good amount of characters in here I watch. You didn't like Tyra Banks? She didn't annoy me, but like it's one of those things. Is why is she here? If that makes sense. I saw Jade's comments.
Dean says, "Holy fucking 90s photo, Batman." He's talking about that cast photo. I think it certainly feels 90s, doesn't it? And then back to Mike's favorite picture. Sorry, what did Jade say? You didn't like Tyra Banks? No, she was terrible.
Again, see, I don't know. I don't know if she's terrible. It's just she didn't annoy me or anything like that. But it's one of those things. So why was she here, or why is she here? I do have to say, I wish we would have saw her death on screen. That seemed to be pretty interesting, but they can't really do anything right here. Yo, I can't believe that's a real fucking photo. I'm sorry. You got to stop throwing these photos. I'm losing train of thought. One, first off, I understand like in real life, your face isn't like even like. Your eyes are off a little bit. Your eyebrows are off a little bit. But that's a fucking mask that you make. Why is the eyebrow that much higher? If it's on a person in real life, understandable. It is what it is. You probably wouldn't even notice it on somebody. But on that white mask that you control, that you make, what the fuck, man?
This was a promotional photo that went around for the movie. It doesn't actually happen in the movie, but so you gave story and pacing a 3 and called it you being generous, and here I was thinking I was being generous and I gave it a 5. Wow. So I had story and pacing at 5. Mike had it at 3. The question is, what do all of you have story and pacing in or at for this film? I've seen a couple of them posted. Heath said, I'm going to shock you. Story and pacing's a 6 out of 10. The guy telling Michael's story was cool, and then the newness of trying something different was neat. I also forgot to bring up during the opening facts that originally this film opened with young Michael Myers, and they ended up scrapping that. So Jesse's going to give it a 6 out of 10. Entertainment Wizard's giving it a 5.5 out of 10. We don't have our usual numbers for tonight's show, so we won't have as many of them here, and it'll go a little quicker. Story and pacing's a 4 from Steven. Appreciate that, Steven. All right. It's time to dive into this film's absolutely stellar acting. All right, it's acting time, which this film doesn't have a whole lot of good for that. Mike, take us away with the acting, man. I ranted first last time. It's all you this time.
I'm gonna go with a 10.
Dean, acting. He can't even get into it. Just starts crying.
I wish we had cameras on people in our comments just to see this, because I can actually see Dean laughing out loud when acting is brought up, and I like the acting in quotations. Love that dude. It's pretty bad. There's not somebody who sticks out to me. Obviously, the one that everybody talks about is Busta Rhymes' character is Freddy. I think he embodied his character for what it was supposed to be, which is loud and obnoxious and kind of dumb. So if you want to say that he played his role,
they almost brought that fucker back for 2 sequels. Not 1, but 2 sequels. 2.
I was gonna try to say something like positive, but I was thinking about it, and it's just not positive. I mean, we haven't gotten into it yet, but like even if, man, I just don't, that character in general like was just terrible. And again, I'm not sticking up for Busta Rhymes or anything at all, because he was terrible. I'm just saying that character is terrible in general and pointless in my opinion. Like, I think that this dives more into the writing when it instead of acting, but I am going to touch on this right here. I felt like that they tried to write Freddy's character is one of those character who is the funny guy, and there was just way too much quote unquote comedy in this quote unquote horror movie.
Wait,
and it just
kung fu? You didn't like his kung fu?
No.
I felt like I was watching Power Rangers at times.
Yeah, no, that was overboard, annoying, and it doesn't make sense with me. I'm not gonna lie, I don't. Let's be honest here. No matter whether you love it or hate it, this when you think of Halloween Resurrection, that comment that was just up on the screen is what you think about. Trick or treat, motherfucker. For the negative, for the positive, whichever one you like, that's what we think about when we think about Halloween Resurrection. So it's made its stamp on the Halloween franchise for that, but it's for the negative reasons. And then moving off his character.
Whoa. Hang on. I figure we'll tackle this together here.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I can't move off his character yet, man. Because people want to bitch about what they did with the new movie. Rightfully so, to some extent. He was going to be in 2 sequels, one of which he was the main fucking character. That they turned into this over-the-top hero. They almost went to production with that shit. Oh my god. Like, you ever wondered, if this franchise makes some shit decisions at times or is going down shit paths? Sometimes the alternative path is worse than what we actually got.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I didn't know that. I don't know. Is that in the Taking Shape books? Okay, I haven't obviously been able to read through that. All of that. It's a lot, especially the second one. Yeah, the second one's huge.
Like a telephone book.
Yeah, I was about to say I have it behind me. I see the 3 books stacked together, and it's funny. I was watching, not to get too far off topic, but I was watching an interview. I think it was the last interview you did with him, and no, what was it? No, I searched his books on YouTube, and somebody on a different channel, it was somebody else's channel, but they had clipped out videos of people reacting to the Taking Shape books, and it had a clip of you in there talking about you can kill somebody with how thick the book is. And I was like, oh, I was like, oh, that's Sean, and then two, I was like but you were so serious, like you weren't laughing or nothing. You were like, and then now that I got it in my hands, I'm like, oh yeah, that's 100%.
I do remember making that comment. That's fucking hilarious.
I can't remember whose video it was. I don't think it was like a main. It wasn't one of the main creators that are out there. It was somebody. I don't know. I was just, when I got the book, I was interested in him, obviously. And then when I'm laying in bed and I get down my YouTube hole, I end up down videos, and I'm like, how the hell did I get here?
Jade, half the audience. What is a telephone book? Good point.
That is true. Makes me feel old. Damn, I'm gonna be 30 in a couple months, man.
You're gonna be 40 in a couple months? No,
30. I feel 40.
The acting in this movie is the worst in the franchise, in my opinion. It is dead last. It is worse than Halloween 5. Not necessarily the movie itself. We'll talk about that on Patreon here soon, and when we do H5. But it's brutal, man. I give the acting a 2. A 2. Like, can you think of name a single standout performance in this movie, please? Tell me someone who's even respectable. Don't even say Jamie Lee Curtis. I will jump through that TV, or that fucking TV monitor here.
She ain't do shit.
Exactly. She can't.
But hey, herself. If I have to be honest, she's probably the best character in this movie.
Oh
no, you know who I'm gonna give it. No, you know who I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna give it to Deckard. Fucking Deckard. What a champ. What a champ. Oh man. I actually I do own Halloween Resurrection on DVD, but let me just say this: I didn't go out and buy it. I bought the 3-pack with 6 H2O and Resurrection in it. But I was going through the bonus features, and they have a deleted scene, or no, alternate ending where Deckard is like, Busta is dead, and Deckard is the one who comes in and saves Sarah in the garage fire, and I thought that shit was so corny. I'm like, so the endings, all the endings that you included, even in the deleted scenes, are terrible. You should probably just not have put that on there.
Who do you think the worst performance is in this movie?
The American Pie guy. He's just fucking annoying as hell, and I love him. I like American Pie. I think is one of my favorite movies ever. Like, it's the first two are so good in my opinion, but like, dude, he's so fucking annoying in this movie. Like, I am glad that he died very quickly. Like, he deserved it. Honestly, I think they let him last a little too long. Like, I would have killed him off as soon as he came into the house. But that's just, my opinion. But he's just stupid. And that blonde girl's pretty dumb too. She's annoying in this movie. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I'm really just shitting on this movie. I feel bad for people who actually love it.
Are you actually apologizing right now for shitting on Halloween Resurrection?
I don't. Dude, we just did Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and I hate that movie. I don't remember last week shitting on that movie as much as I am this movie. Like, I am struggling to find the positives of this movie. I can find positives in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
I saw your scores when you gave them to me, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this guy fucking hates this movie.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, if I'm being honest and just being straight up, right now, this is not a movie that I go back and revisit, like, at all. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the Rob Zombie films, but I'll go back and watch his first one, his second one here and there. Sean, this is one that I just do I don't even think about going back to revisit this movie at all.
I don't know if I can say that. I actually enjoy watching most of the Halloween movies again, which some people might, not be happy about. But um, I I just enjoy rewatching these movies. I've always had a passion to rewatch them, and again, like if Jade says to me, "You want to watch a Halloween movie tonight?" The first one I mentioned is not going to be Halloween Resurrection, but I can also say it's probably not the last one I'd mention either. It's
Ooh,
probably not
really?
saying much, but I could see
What?
myself right now today wanting to watch Resurrection more than some of the other Halloween movies.
Oh, you said more than some. That
Some,
really
yeah.
that really has me intrigued. If I'm being honest
That
with you,
doesn't mean that I don't like the other movies better. I definitely do most of them. But when I
I
haven't
got
seen
you.
a movie in a while, and or if I've seen one to death, it's like I'm okay with some change.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is the only one that's just so hard for me to go back and rewatch. I don't want to sit here and say I don't know what it is. I know what it is, but yeah, I don't know, dude. For me, I gave acting a 3.
So you were more generous than I was this time.
Yeah,
That's
which is honestly kind of pisses me off.
okay. Not sure what to say to that. Uh, you,
That's all
man,
you can do is laugh. That's all you can do is laugh.
I'll be honest, man. When I seen your scores for this episode, I did not think you were going to be nearly as critical as you are. I'm not saying I thought it was going to be your favorite movie, but I definitely thought that you thought more of this movie than what you actually do. And boy, was I wrong. Very, very wrong. Without further ado, though, ladies and gentlemen, the cinematography. I got ahead of myself. Apologies. Let's go back and read the scores for acting. Submit your acting scores if you haven't yet. I'm going to see if I can dig. Actually, Mike, do you think you
Right
can dig
there.
through that? See if you can pull up the scores? I know you won't be able to show them on screen. I'm just trying to ready something here quickly.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to go back now and read through these. So we're talking about acting. I think Dean gave it a 5 out of 10. Jade joking saying she's 10s across the board. We know that's a lie. Let's see. Steven gave acting a 3. Heath gave acting a 4. And oh no, I'm sorry. Dean gave acting a 2. Damn. Jess gave acting a solid 8. I don't know if he's joking or being serious, but if you do think it is an 8, Jess, super happy for you, dude. That's cool. Entertainment. Stop laughing. Entertainment Wizard. Entertainment Wizard gives acting a 5. Um, so Dean is on the same page as you, Sean.
I'm starting to get the opinion here that not a lot of people like this movie.
Ken gives it a 1. I think he's being a little generous, but that's just my opinion.
So yeah, I guess I didn't think it would be this negative in the chat for. Sorry, it's probably a bad word to use. I'm not like it's not like I'm sitting here going, "Oh, how dare you guys not be receive this movie better." I'm definitely not saying that, although this is a badass image. I'm just saying
Yes.
I
Thank you
thought
for saying that.
I thought all of you guys were true fans of this franchise, which means
Oh God.
we love all these movies, no matter what. They can do no wrong, and I have my true fan card because, quite frankly, I deserve it because I love all Halloween movies. They're all a perfect 10. If you want your true fan card, all you got to do is brown nose your way to whoever you need to convince them that all Halloween movies are a 10. True fan card. Not how I intended to use that today, but
Can you print that out and send it to me, please?
oh, you want? Oh, yeah. Do you want it laminated? We gotta.
Yes,
I gotta send
please.
this to Tommy B. Laminate it. Send it to him in a Christmas card.
That's funny. When I
True
see
fan.
Deckard, though, I just think about. I don't know if anybody grew up on Disney Channel original movies like I did, but I think of the movie Smart House on Disney Channel when I look at him. That's the first thing I thought about, and that still has not changed.
Dean says he loves how it's Deckard and his Elvis ass sideburns. Yeah, true fan card. So
I
I'll
hate
say
his
this.
friend.
Oh yeah,
I
his
hate
friend's
his
a dick.
friend. Yeah, that's
It's
besides
almost
the
like
point, Miles. Barton.
I'll say this about the cinematography, man. I actually like it in this film. The way the film is shot, I have no problems with whatsoever. Again, I like the attempt at found footage in the streaming thing. And just like traditionally, I like the way it's traditionally shot in this movie too. I actually have the lighting in the Myers house is done very, very well. Um, I almost feel bad saying that I gave this movie a 7.5 for the cinematography, but I did because honestly, man, say what you want, but at the end of the day, the movie looks good. I don't have a problem with how the movie looks. That's not where this movie goes wrong for me.
I think it's okay. I definitely think that you have definitely a valid argument in this. I think it's probably one of the higher scores for me. Well, I wouldn't say higher scores. Let me take that back. I think I did give it a little too low on this now that I think about it, but I'm not going to back off of it. But I understand where you're coming from because I think there's one. So when I said that I do have a couple positives in this movie, it's the shots, certain shots in this movie, and there's two that really stick out to me. And one of those is going to be the image that you had up on the screen earlier. I think that's such a badass shot of Michael. And then two, yeah, that's so well done. You don't see his eyes, you can't see his fucked up eyebrow. You see the blood on the knife. Okay. That just went to shit. Okay. My man looks terrible right there. God, that's such a bad shot. I hope if these photos are on IMDb, they need to immediately remove them because they are terrible. Um, so when I another one that I like is the one right there you have up, Sean, when she walks to the window and she sees Michael in the field. Like I like stuff like that. It reminds me of vintage Mike. So those two stick out to me, and then I'll add a third one when the redhead is down in the tunnel and it's dark down there, the lights go out, and she is moving her flashlight around, and the flashlight hits Michael in the face, and then Michael's walking through the tunnel, and you can see the blue lighting hitting Michael's face through I think it's the sewer or the windows, whatever it is. I think that is a really, really good shot as well. So there are a few really good shots in this movie that stick out to me, but I have to be honest with you, man. I was pretty harsh on this, and I gave cinematography a 4.
Ouch. Yeah, that might be a little rough. I don't know if it deserved that, but it's a good thing you can't change it because we would be postponing the rest of the show in order to read graphics and numbers. So
Nah,
it's
it's
hard.
one of those things. It's one of those things. Even though I think it's harsh, I'm not upset about it.
And the truth is, everybody knew this was going to be an abbreviated episode. Anyways, I said right off the top when Johnny and I went live, it'd be abbreviated. We just don't have a whole lot to say on this. We just wanted to get the movie in there and done. And Mike and I also had a ton going on, so you'll definitely have a much better, more full episode next week. Although keep in mind, we move off of, at least for the main YouTube channel, we move off of Halloween next week, and we go cover Silent Hill. Starring Sean Bean, so be on the lookout for that.
I think Ken has a really good point here in his comment.
I don't see Ken. Oh, There we go. Feels like this movie is a MTV Halloween spoof movie, totally. Well, dude, fun fact. MTV was in development on a Halloween movie, and it almost got made.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it's not very good. Not very good at all. So kind of glad that one didn't happen. Let's keep the ball rolling, though. We move on to writing and directing. You know, I got nothing here, man. I was sitting there looking at my scores, and I wanted to find a way to be more on the positive than the negative. I wanted to find a way to give this at least a 5 for writing and directing. And no matter what I did, I turned the film upside down. Looked at the psychiatric hospital at the beginning, looked at the found footage stuff in the Myers house, and there was nothing that I could do to give this thing. I'm just going to come up with my score right away, and then I'll go back and read the scores from the last one. So, cinematography scores, please. By the way, actually, I'll take a break now and pull those up. Cinematography scores. Again, we're a little off tonight. Apologies. Jesse says an 8. An 8 from Entertainment Wizard, an 8 from Heath. Sorry, I guess it's a 4 from Jesse. You changed your mind already. A 7 from Steven. Very cool use of light and shadow at times. I like the strong, cool blues that remind me of Cundy's work on H1 and H2. I think that's valid. Again, I think there's a good Halloween movie somewhere hidden in Halloween Resurrection. They just didn't execute on it, in my opinion. So, I mean, you guys are more generous than we were. I thought I was generous at 7.5. So, and Mike gave it a 4. So, but writing and directing for me is a 4. There's not one line in this movie, dude, where I can sit there and go, or like one delivery where I was like, yeah, well, I was on the edge of my seat for that. And, this sequence was amazing. And this, performer handled it great. Like, I don't think it helps that the lead character in this film I cannot stand. She does nothing for me whatsoever. Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe her character, because she doesn't annoy me, but she doesn't excite me either. I think you put it the best way. She does nothing for me, and that's not what a lead role person should entail. They should do a lot for you if they're going to lead this movie. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same page with you, man. There's not one thing that really sticks out to me as far as writing and directing. Again, when I think about what scene sticks out to me, period, I go back to that tunnel scene under the ground with the redhead. I think that is one of the most positive ones for me. I thought that scene kind of not had me on the edge of my seat, but was very, very interesting. So I really enjoy it. So
I like that whole sequence.
That scene. Yeah, me too. I think the lighting's good. The kill is good. And, when she dies and Michael looks into her headset camera, I don't know. That was really a really, really strong point for me in that movie. I felt like that was really Michael in that tunnel, and it's just a very scary situation to be in. But overall, outside of that, that's the only positive thing that I can really point to, if I'm being quite honest. So for writing and directing, I gave it a 4.
Writing and directing from me was a 4 as well. Again, like I sat there trying to find ways to not be so negative about it, if that makes sense. And I just, nothing I could do, man. No matter what I did, I couldn't find a justifiable reason to go, hey, I gave this thing a 5 or even a 6. I felt dirty giving this thing a 4. Because at the end of the day, even though it's Rick Rosenthal, he still signed off on a ton of this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just because, I don't know. I don't think just because it's you give somebody the benefit of the doubt because of the name. So I'm with you. I definitely think um, just because I would say record wise and what he did with Halloween 2, despite the positives, you got to look at every project and every situation differently, and this is just one that was not delivered on.
No, again, like I said, if this movie came out today, man, the social media reception to it would be horrendous. It would make Halloween Ends look like a cakewalk, in my opinion. The
100%.
crime stuff would not be received well at all. The use of Michael, the look of Michael, it's about as bad as it could be, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree, dude.
Want to take a moment just to tell everybody about a few things that we got going on at the channel here. Not necessarily at the channel, but the people that make this show possible. First up, he is a sponsor of the Overlook Drive-In. Unable to make it tonight, but Matt Whitfield, without him, it'd be hard to do the show, as well as our guy, Jason Nike, who has just rebranded his channel, Backtrack Cinema. So be on the lookout for everything Jason's doing. He's got a slasher films from the 80s top 10 coming out, and Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. I haven't seen that movie in a fucking long ass time. Like easily over 20 years for me. So
it's a good watch.
Check out Jason, what he's doing. We also have Jesse, who sponsors our Game of Thrones show, House of the Empire, Bunch Force Trauma. Check him out. There are his socials up on screen. And Chris C_78, if you're looking for a Michael Myers mask, strongly recommend everybody check him out. And actually,
he does great work. It's actually really phenomenal. I was actually scrolling on his Instagram the other day, and it's just his work is just absolutely tremendous. So highly recommend him.
Absolutely. I have a little something that I'm going to show off to people next week if you tune in during Silent Hill. So if you show up for Silent Hill, there'll be a little Halloween treat in there for you. And it's from Chris, actually. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I gave the writing and the directing a 4, man. I wanted to give it 5. I simply could not do it. The question is, what did everybody in the audience give the writing and the directing? Matt is giving it a 3. Jesse's given it a 4. Entertainment Wizard's given it a 5.5. Heath has given it a 5. Steven's given it a 4. I'm not surprised the scores are so low for writing and directing. I'm really heartbroken that this is a picture that Rick Rosenthal made. I got to be honest, it's kind of deflating.
I agree 100%.
Last up, sound and score. Alrighty, sound and score time. Again, when it comes to the sound design and the score, man, much like the cinematography, if I wanted to be overly negative about this film, I couldn't find anything that I could like severely critique about it. Was it out of this world good? No. But it wasn't bad. Was it great? No. But it wasn't terrible. To me, I'll be honest, dude. Sound design and score wise, it's better than Halloween H2O for me.
Yeah, I might have to.
I hate the score for H2O so much.
Personal I know choice. You do. I don't. I know. I don't. Oh, personal choice, but a lot of people don't like it. But I understand why.
Wow.
I think he's talking about the writing and directing.
Writing and directing is 0 out of 10. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I think sound and score is okay. I don't hate it. I don't think it's anything out of this world. I think it's okay. So when I sit here and I think something is okay and it doesn't really do anything for me, I just think of average, being in the middle. And I gave this, as far as score wise, a 5. I think it's just right there in the middle for me. It's not terrible, like you said. It's not out of this world. It's not great. So I gave it a 5. There were some cool parts as far as sound design that I really liked, that I really enjoyed. I think I enjoyed the sound design a little bit more than the score in this movie. But overall, I gave it a 5, man. I think it's okay.
I know people might be thinking that, hey, you guys aren't really getting deep, too deep with this movie. The truth is, this is a hard movie to get deep with. I'm sure there's a 4-hour video somewhere on YouTube diving into all the ins and outs on Halloween Resurrection, but this was a hard watch. This is a hard movie to talk about because there's a lot of misses. But I'll say this about the sound and the score: if I could switch the sound, the score, and the lighting from this movie with Halloween H2O, my God, I would love Halloween H2O way, way, way more. But it is what it is. I gave sound and score, Mike, a 6.5. What did you give it?
I gave it a 5. I think it's right there in the middle. I think it's okay. Yeah. So I mean, I don't have anything to sit here and critique and say was terrible. Nothing took me out of my mind or out of the movie when it came to sound design. It was probably, again, one of the most positives, and my score reflects that. It is the most positive.
Matt says it's unremarkable because I don't remember anything standing out. And then if you look at 2018, you automatically have the Shape Stocks Allison, which just hit you like a bag of rocks. Yeah, there's nothing that good in Halloween Resurrection. I'll give you that one, man. He says 6.5. Great minds think alike, dude. Entertainment Wizard says 9. 9. Wow. Just for that, dude, you're our first recipient of the Deckard True Fan card. Wow. There you go, Entertainment Wizard. Woo!
Love it. Wow. First recipient.
All in good fun, man. All in good fun. Matt's giving it a 5. Linton's giving it a 7. Jesse's giving it a 7. Steven's giving it a 6.5. Matt says, you just hit the nail on the head. There's no emotional connection to anyone, which makes it hard to critique. Absolutely, dude. Everyone always says, well, just make this Halloween movie of Michael Myers killing 5 randoms. It could be intriguing to an extent, but if all we get from the 5 randoms is surface level shit, it makes it hard to dive into the deeper storytelling that Halloween thrives on over some of the other movies.
Yeah, I think when you're deep into a franchise like this, you can't just have a movie like that. Like, you gotta have some substance to it for it to hit, especially when you're, again, deep in a franchise like this. So when I sit back and I think about you can introduce a new slasher and not have the biggest storyline. You can have this slasher just going around killing people, because I feel like a lot of the first installments to slasher movies, you're really trying to sell that horror icon. Well, I won't say icon, but that slasher, that killer, that villain. That's the person you're trying to connect with. And then the second film, the third film, if you're lucky enough to get there, that's when you really dive into character development, storytelling, because you already have the love and the appreciation from that killer and that slasher. So now it's time to start building up, a final girl, time to start building up a main character that goes through a full entire movie. Because again, you're already, once, you fall in love or love that killer at hand in the first movie, you're going to bring that love and appreciation over to the second movie. Now you're looking for that character development and that storytelling. So when you're deep into a franchise like this, you expect good storytelling, you expect good acting. We just did not get that from this movie.
I might be too high to follow that up. I'm glad that you had your wits about you, man. I don't know if I can go that deep with this movie, so why don't we just move along to the best kill? There are some decent kills in this flick. right, what's it for you, man? What's your best kill?
This might sound a little weird, but I am gonna go with towards
You're right.
the
No.
okay. That's the worst kill in this movie, please. Um I'm gonna go with before they even make it into the house, when they're setting up for the house, when the camera guy is setting up the cameras in the house. And one, I love the shot. I love the angle of the shot you get from the camera that he is setting up. And I love the fact how Michael is just one walking towards him slowly, and he's just so discreet. Like he's just so shocked that he's not moving or trying to run, and Michael just shoves that sharp end of the camera stand into his neck, and that's just a terrible way to die. So I'm gonna go with that. I do think one of the positives of this movie is the kills. There's some really good kills. There's a couple of kills, especially the Tyra Banks kill that was done off screen, that I felt like would have been really, really good to see on screen. I talked about it before as far as one of my favorite scenes, the tunnel scene where the redhead gets, pushed through, stabbed through the gut on that metal railing. So there are some really good kills here. I think if I had to pick anything in this movie, the kills is what stands out. I think they do a really good, solid job with all of the kills. I don't think anything is too over the top or overboard. I mean, you could say when Michael slashes the neck off of the blonde head girl, that might be a little overboard, but I didn't find that too bothersome, I guess. But overall, I thought the kills were pretty good. But if I had to pick one, it would have been that early cameraman guy in the house setting up where he took the camera stand to the neck.
That was runner up for me. Mine was the dude that gets pulled through the mirror there.
Yes, I love it.
You know what though? In the promotion for the movie, they gave that kill away.
I don't even remember. I just know that that's probably my most hated character in this movie, and I just wanted him to die, and I loved it.
Matt says the redhead, I can't remember her name. Well, that's the problem with all these characters, is I don't remember any of their names other than Freddy. Maybe that's why he was going to be the main character in a follow-up.
Let's be honest. When people, again, I go back to when people talk about resurrection, who do you talk about? You talk about Freddy. Not in a positive way. It's mostly negative, but you're talking about him. So I don't know. If we're being honest, he's probably one of the most memorable characters in this movie. Just because he's the most memorable, though, doesn't mean it's for the positives. I'm just saying.
I like the score during Donna's death. That's apparently the redhead girl's name. So,
absolutely, that whole scene is phenomenal, in my opinion.
The question is, who's your MVP? I'll be honest, man. Usually I have my MVP queued up. I have nobody at the moment because I cannot possibly think who's deserving of the MVP. And if I had to give it to one person, I don't even like his Michael the best. Not even close to the best, but I'd give it to Brad Lorry as Michael Myers in this movie. Almost by default. Because nothing else works for me. Not Jamie Lee Curtis, not any of the new people. I mean, you might want to, you know what? I'm going to stick with Brad Lorry because Busta Rhymes is a bit over the top, but I could totally see him being some people's MVP.
Yeah, I think I have to go Busta Rhymes. I was going to choose between him or Michael, but I have to go with Busta Rhymes because when you think about, this was a little bit more difficult for me because I was thinking about which way I'm going to go and how I'm going to choose this. Like I choose all right, let's break this down. Like I was going to choose Michael because like you said, the best way to put it is by default, but I have to go with Busta Rhymes because when I think about this movie, I get the most reactions from myself when he's on camera and when he's on screen. Doesn't mean they're all positive. Doesn't mean most of them are positive. But my reactions, and when I talk about Halloween Resurrection, I talk about Freddy and I talk about Busta Rhymes' character. Again, that doesn't have to mean I'm talking about it in a positive light or anything like that, but I have to go with Freddy's character. I have to go with Freddy because he gave me laughs during this movie. Those laughs don't really hold up to this day, if I'm being honest. But I shouldn't have walked out of this movie laughing more than I was in suspense, but I obviously was, and it had to do with Freddie. Sean, you sure you didn't want to give the MVP to Deckard though? I mean, he did save Sarah's life in a sense.
Deckard's probably Dean's MVP. I could totally see Deckard being Dean's MVP.
Well, I was thinking about saying Deckard just because I didn't find his character annoying, and he did kind of save. I don't know, man. It's just hard because this is a movie where it's like, because like now I'm sitting here thinking about it, and like, nah, can't do it. I just can't do it. Like I'm trying to sit here and make like positive, like, well, if you look at it this way or you look at it that, nah, not gonna happen. I'm sorry. Sorry, Deckard. Sorry, Deckard. I tried for you.
Dean says he cherishes the true fan card. Busta's Jesse's MVP. Sean Patrick Thomas for Heath. Best kill is Michael for Jesse. Michael's Linton's character. The inmate that Michael frames for Laurie's murder, says Matt. MVP'd by default, Michael Myers. Good stuff, guys. MVP, Brad Laurie, only because he was a big improvement over Chris Duran from H2O. I would agree with that. I hate the resurrection mask, though, if I'm being honest. It doesn't do anything for me either. So,
I'd rather, as much as I love it, one, I like Chris Duran better than Brad Laurie, in my opinion. But if I'm being honest, when it comes to H2O and Resurrection, I'd rather have the Resurrection mask than the H2O mask. I'm sorry.
There you have it. That's going to conclude our discussion on Halloween Resurrection for this evening. We're going to get into final scores in just a second here and pull up the numbers. Before we do, I just want to take a second and show you where our scores have been so far, so you have an idea at what the previous movies are at before we go over these ones. So The Shining is at 96.5%. I Know What You Did Last Summer at 70%. Hush at 76%. Halloween 4 at 83.5%. Halloween H2O at 77.5%. Halloween 2 at 83%. Rob Zombie's Halloween at 58.5%. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at 56.5%. As we get into the numbers, I had story and pacing at a 5. Mike had it at 3. Mike had acting at 3. I had it at 2. I had cinematography at 7.5. Mike had it at a 4. Mike had writing and directing at a 4, as did I. And I had sound and score at 6.5, and Mike had it at 5. The way those percentages break down is story and pacing is a 40%. Acting is a solid 25%. Cinematography, 57.5%. Writing and directing, 40%. And sound and score, 57.5%. Our individual percentages broke down like this: 50% for me and 38% for Mike, bringing our overall score for Halloween Resurrection 44%, the lowest we've done yet by some bit. Mike, thoughts, man?
Yeah, man, I'm not surprised. I was more surprised that Rob Zombie's H2 was as high as it was. I thought that was going to be under the 50% mark, but it wasn't. I was more shocked by that than this being at 44%, if I'm being quite honest with you. I'm not surprised by this. When I go back and I look at our overall scores for what we gave this film, and when we combined our percentages together as far as each category, I think it played out on point. Like I think the ones that stood out the most, which isn't saying too much, the sound and design and the cinematography, I think those two categories definitely deserve to be 1, 2, and the rest can fall under that. So I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, you gave Halloween Resurrection a 19 out of a possible 50 points. I had given it 25 out of a possible 50 points, which is how we came to our 44% score. There you have it, though. That is going to conclude tonight's discussion on Halloween Resurrection. Dude, what's going on with the Take One podcast? Yeah, you got a lot going on over there, it sounds like.
Yeah, man. Take One and the Overlook is my two babies right now, man. I think they're both doing really good right now. I just brought the Take One podcast to YouTube, so that is finally on YouTube. You could just search Michael Bish, or you could search the Take One podcast. I would appreciate any subscriptions, likes, comments, and then obviously you can always listen to the Take One podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. This past week, I had David Howard Thornton on the show, who plays Art the Clown in Terrifier and Terrifier 2. It was a great conversation. So if you could, make sure you go listen to that. I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely check out what Mike's doing over there. It's a bunch of good shit. And if you're looking for the Take One podcast link, it will be in the description of this video. So feel free to just give it a click and head
Thanks,
on
man.
over there. Last night we did our top 10 Game of Thrones House of the Dragon characters. That is on the channel right now. And then tomorrow we have the Moose Too Far, a Star Wars podcast coming out, and we talk about Tales of the Jedi, new Star Wars movies, a new Star Wars movie coming from Stranger Things director. Is it Levy? Somebody Levy.
Sean Levy.
Sean Levy. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, be on the lookout for that too. Mike, any final thoughts before we get out of here, man? I know I sound terrible.
You do sound terrible. I hope you feel better. Two, I was, as much as I enjoyed the show last night, Sean, I have to say I was pretty pissed that my girl Renera got snubbed. I'm still not recovering over that. I appreciate everybody else showing their respect, but there was one person that did not, and I cannot wait till I guess the next time I'll run across this person is on our Patreon for H5, and I can't wait because I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah, that'll be intriguing for sure. And we're still working on getting everybody Halloween 5 Killer Inside Me. Sorry, what was that, Mike?
I was just gonna say it was a great show last night, Sean. I think it flowed really well. Wasn't 5 hours long, wasn't way too short. I thought it was done really perfectly. And I'm excited to see where that goes as well. Because I can tell you that I'm gonna be looking for all the House of the Dragon information and content to hold me over for these next 2 years. So super excited for that, man. And what y'all got going over there at House of the Dragon or House of the Empire. Super excited for that.
Yeah, I don't think the wait will be 2 years either. I think it'll be closer to about a year and a half, maybe a little less. But still sucks. It's going to be more than a year. It's going to be a long wait. If you want to support the channel on another level, you can do so over on Patreon, patreon.com/fandom empire. Check it out. Got a bunch of stuff happening over there. Again, big thank you to our channel sponsors. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. And to our patrons, thank you, especially those that are at the executive producer level. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Changes will continue at the channel over the next week or two, and eventually you'll see the full transition into what we've been working towards, and we hope you enjoy it. But in the meantime, I'm going to bed before I get sicker than I already am. Have a great fucking evening. Fuck this movie. Good night.
Damn.